Shri Parasakthi Vidyalaya Cbse Class 7th Subject English.
Good morning, my dear students. In this class, we are going to see about Unit 8 Prose. The topic of the lesson is Fire, Friend and Foe. Again, I repeat the topic Fire, Friend and Foe. So, all of you take your literature book and take lesson 8. Dear students, page number 114. Fire, Friend and Foe. So, before we know, in this lesson, they given some introduction. See, fire is both useful and dangerous, we know. In this lesson, we can know what is fire, how did we discover, and how do we control. These three questions answer only the summary of the lesson. Clear? See the first paragraph. Early man did not know what fire was, but he must have seen the damage it could cause. He must have watched the lightning and volcanoes long before he can begin to use fire himself. Fire was most powerful and dangerous, and he was frightened. So early man, first he don't know about the fire. First, of course, he was afraid of it. So after that only, what is fire? Fire in the fact of chemical reaction. Later only he understood. See the second paragraph. Fire may have fuzzled early man, but we now know the fire was a result of chemical reaction. So these are all the things we studied in the chemistry. When the oxygen in the air combines with the carbon and hydrogen in your fuel, a chemical reaction takes place. So energy in the form of heat and light released in the process, that is what we call fire. If I ask a question to what is fire, what should be your answer? The air has oxygen and which fuels have carbon and hydrogen. When the two combine, when it is a two combined, the energy released in the form of light, the process is known as fire. Clear? Three things needed to make fire. Which are the things? Fuel, oxygen and heat. Again I repeat, fuel, oxygen and heat. So wood, coal, cooking gas and petrol are the some examples of fuel. See the examples. And oxygens come from the air, we know. That is why when you blow on the smoldering paper, it bursts into the flame. So that is only the open place. If you sow the paper, it should be burned. The third thing needed to make the fire is heat. So fuel and oxygen do not make fire themselves, or else a newspaper or stick lying in the open would catch the fire on its own. So we can't. So the three things needed. If we say two things, we can't make fire. All the three things play an important role to make the fire. So in this page we can learn how did invent the fire by the early man, and what is fire. So you can understand the chemical reaction about the fire, and which are the things needed for the fire. Clear, students? Take next page. Page number 115. To burn a piece of paper or wood, we heat it before it catches fire. We generally do it with a light match. Every fuel has a particular temperature at which it begins to burn. This temperature called the flash point or a kindling temperature of the fuel. So in the previous page we can know which are the things needed to make fire. So the common fuels and the oxygen, these all things we learned the first page. So here we can know about what is flash point. See, we generally do it with a lighter match, which a matchstick we can make a fire. Every fuel has a particular temperature, we know it, which begins to burn. This temperature, which temperature it caused the fire, it is known as the flash point of the fuel. It is sometimes said that the fire is a good servant but a bad master. So it is a very important quote. See, fire is a good servant. So what are the things you want, you can get to the fire. So it is so that's why it is known as a servant but a bad master. Sometimes it should be very dangerous to us. It is only means a fire is very useful as long as kept under control. If you have a control power with you, then only fire is a great servant or a friend to you. If you are not catch the control, or it is out of control, it should be a bad master. It is causes very bad way. For instance, we use it to cook our food, warm our homes in winter to generate electricity. But on the other hand, if the fire gets out of control, it can be very dangerous. Each year, thousands of homes and shops are damaged by fire. The vast areas of forest are also destroyed and hundreds of people are killed or injured. See how it should be a control. If we are cook our food through the heat, and that's why we are use the fire, we all know. So these are the ways. If you have a control, it is should be a good, and it is a window to generate electricity. It is very useful to use. But other hands, so there are so many fire accidents we can learn everyday newspaper, we know. So many thousands of shops, and in the forest areas also damaged, or and destroyed by fire. These also we can see through the newspaper news. So, just as the three things are needed to start your fire, there are three main ways which a fire can be put out. In each one of the three things needed for burning is taken away. The first page we can know about the invention of fire, how did invent by early man, and which are the things needed to make fire, we can learn in the first page. In this page we can learn what is flash point, which temperature makes burn, it is known as a flash point of the fuel, and the famous quote we learn from the page. What is that? Fire is a good servant and a bird master. So very important and noted quote. So you should understood that. And which are the ways it is useful for lighting in the home, and to make cooking food? These are the ways fire is a friend to us. So when it is foe, so it is out of control, it became very destroyable thing. So here we can learn just three things needed to start a fire. To there are the three main ways which a fire can be put on. How three things used to make the same thing, three ways we can control. Which are the ways to we can control the fire? So it is learned in the next page. Okay, so all of you take page number 116 now. For example, we can take away the fuel. If the fire has no fuel to feed on, no burning can take place. We often let a fire die out simply by not adding more fuel to it. The first example, how to control. So we can take away the fuel. First, what we can do? If the fire has no fuel to feed on, no burning can take place. We often let a fire die out simply by not adding more fuel. So if you are not adding more fuel on it, it should be controlled. This is a first way. The second way of putting out the fire is to prevent oxygen from reaching. So because we know combination of oxygen and hydrogen only it makes. So we can prevent the oxygen to reach. No supply of oxygen means no fire. So because when the oxygen comes to from the out place only, it make the fire. So small fires can be put out or smothered with a damp blanket or a sock. These all we can see in the movies also. If it is any fire accident, we just put out the damp blanket or check. So when the outside oxygen level stopped means there is no fire burn again. So this stops oxygen reaching the burning material. Sometimes carbon dioxide is used to extinguish a fire. It does not allow oxygen to reach the burning material. So this is also one of the reason. See the first example, we are not adding one more fuel, or simplify not adding the fuel on it, it should be controlled. And second way, the supply of oxygen should be controlled, then only we can it should be controlled. Okay, and third way of putting out the fire is to remove the heat. If the temperature can be brought down below the flash point, the fuel stops burning. You blow on the burning matchstick or a candle to put it on it. In doing so, you are remove the hot air around the flame, burning down its temperature below the flash point, and the candle goes out. Sometimes water is sprayed on the fire. It absorbs the heat from the burning fuel and lowers the temperature. The blanket of water also cuts off the supply of oxygen and the fire is extinguished. The third way, so we just remove the heat. The first way, not add the fuel. Second way, water. Supply of oxygen should be cut. Here, the remove of heat. So in this way, if you are doing that, the fuel stops burning, so you can blow a matchstick or the candle to put it out. In doing so, if you are remove the hot air around the flame, it should be the temperature should be very below, then the flash point is low, the candle goes out. Sometimes we can see in the films the water is sprayed. This is also one of the method. The heat absorbed by the water, then the temperature level is going down. The blanket of and the water, both it is used to supply cuts off the oxygen supply. This is also the method. So in this page we can learn three ways to control the fire. Some fires cannot be put out with the water. If water is sprayed onto the oil fire, the oil will float to the top of the water and continue to burn. This can be very dangerous because water can flow quickly, carrying the burning oil with it, spreading the fire. Water should also not used to fire or cause the electrical appliance. The person spraying water might receive the electric shot and be killed. A carbon dioxide extinguisher is the best thing to fight an electrical fire. These first we can see the three examples how which are the ways to control the fire. It's a common we can learn, but it is a different cases. See some water sprayed on the oil fire. Sometimes it is not work out, and the same thing electrical cases, the electrical appliance fire accident means if the person spray the water, the person must be attracted by the fire, so it should be taken care of very clear way. Then the carbon dioxide extinguisher is the best thing to control the fire. So this is one of the difficult method. So the common way we can control the fire, we use using the water or soil. Sometimes we are using soil and water, and out of heat power is controlled. These are the ways. The dangerous cases in the electrical appliance, it should be cleverly handled by the person only. It should be saved by the people. Okay. Page number 117. We spend millions of rupees each year in fighting fires, and we spend more trying to find the new ways preventing fire from happening and getting out of control. On the whole, we have learned rather well to control the fire and put it into the good use in everyday life. See, the author said how to you make the fire, and of course how to control the power. Here there are million rupees we can spend every year, each year, to fight about the fire. So the author said we should learn about not to control the fire and put it into the good effort. So long ago there were no firemen, we know, because the previous days every village man, every people, every man become a firefighter. But nowadays not like that. That should be a separate course, that should be a separate department. Fire service department is there. So if you are met or if you are know about any fire accident, suddenly we can call the department, then they will come and help the people. When the fire broke out, everybody became the firefighter. People formed the human chain. See the picture, this is a human, this is known as a human chain. How they control, so they are spread the water out of the fire, then this the way they out they control the fire the previous days. Okay, they form the human chains. Still nowadays also some of the places it is happen, and pass the buckets of water from the pond and or well or river in the olden days. Now there are laws about building construction. We must ensure that the space is left between the buildings to reduce the fire risk. So we first um know about it is any first aid box, we can out control the fire accidents. We should aware of it. And every new building, especially a public place, we must ensure the observance of the fire prevention norm, then only we can enter the place. So this is one of the best method to prevent the prevent from the fire. Bands of firefighter workers with special equipment known as a fire brigades that are to put out the fire. Nowadays there are, I told you to, so many courses available, and the fireman must be a skilled person. They passed many skills. They cut off even the electricity supply also without die, and knock down dangerous walls and spray water and other materials to bring fire and control. So they are also trained in first aid also during the during the fire accident. When the people met uh, any problem, they can the course given the training, even the first aid. Turn the next page number 118. They can help people suffering from burns or from the effect of smoke. So I already told, even the first aid also given the training by the fire people. The discovery of fire and the uses helped the early man to cope with nature better and gradually adopt a settled mode of life. Fire is still worshipped in many parts of the world. Fire is indeed a friend, but as we know, it can be a dangerous enemy once it gets out of control. So in this lesson we can learn about the discovery of fire, how should we make the fire, which are the ways to control. Of course, we know at the end fire is a friend and foe. If you have your control, it is worshipped by many places. Even now it should be a very good friend. Yeah, of course, a good servant to you. The quote, you remember that. But if you are out of control, it should be a dangerous enemy. It is a bad master to you. So that's all, my dear students. I hope all you understood about the lesson fire, friend and foe. So how to handle the fire, and how should be worshipped, all the things we can learn from the lesson. So now all of you take your English note and write the questions now. Question number 1. All of you take an English note and write the heading friend and foe, fire. Answer the following. Question number 1. What do you understand by flash point of the fuel? Answer. The temperature at which a fuel begins to burn, it's called its flash point. Question number 2. What are some common uses of fire, and in what sense is it a bad master? Answer. Fire is commonly used to cook food, warm our homes in winter, and to generate electricity. And of course, the fire is a bad master, a dangerous enemy if it goes out of control. Question number 3. Why does a burning candle go out when you blow on it? Answer. When we blow on a burning candle, we remove the hot air burning the flame. Thus, the temperature falls below the flash point. Question number 4. Spraying water is not a good way of putting out of an oil fire or an electrical fire. Why not? Answer. If water is sprayed on oil fire, oil floats on the top and continues to burn. Secondly, water can spread the fire. If a person throws water on electrical fire, he might get an electric shock and be killed. Question number 5. What are some of the things that you should do to prevent a fire at home and in the school? Answer. Firefighting things should be kept ready at home as well as in school. Electrical appliances should be properly wired, earthed and insulated. So that's all, my dear students. So the class over. All of you copy these questions in English note. Thank you.